This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome to the Great Love Debate, the world's #1 dating and relationship podcast. Since 2015, I am back here in the very fine studios of Pod Populi, Podcast for the People. I'm at the one in Boca Raton, Florida. They're having some weather issues down here. People are kind of babies, but I'm sitting in a glass studio. So where else would you want to be inside glass walls when there's projectiles flying around outside? But we press on. We press on here at the Great Love Debate. One thing that I get a lot of is I get a lot of divorced people who contact me and they're like, what should I do? Which episode should I listen to? I'm divorced and I don't know where to go. And I'm like, listen to all of them. They're all relevant. We touch on a lot of that. You haven't been listening very long if you don't think we deal with the divorced people. But the divorced people sometimes wander around like they're lost on a planet because they kind of are. If you have not been single in quite some time, it is a little bit different than when you left off in 1994. The other thing we get is we get a lot of people have been single a long time and they can't quite see the end of the rainbow. I have somebody in here today. She claims she has some theories. She sort of bridges those two groups. She is divorced, but she's been dating a long time. So she remembers the old days. And she also has been around long enough to see this transition from, say, the early aughts. Are we sticking with the aughts? To now. And she claims to have some theories. And I always like somebody who says, I have a theory on that. And I hope to agree with it. People think it's a Great Love Debate because I want to bring people in here and I will swat them down like a fly swatter. Their bad ideas and thoughts and theories. But I'm rooting for myself to agree with them. So we're trying to be good here. She's the host of the very popular Mom Esteem podcast because she's a mom and she has some esteem. Jamie Levine. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Is that the aughts where you hop back on the dating bandwagon?
The arts?
The aughts, 02, 07, 08, 09, in that range. When did you come back to the pool?
2008.
2008. And you were married for how long?
6 years.
So you were 6 years married. You came back out. Back then there was some Match.com and eHarmony. What was available back then?
Well, back then, I remember the first thing I remember about becoming divorced and newly single was the whole text message that
I
didn't have before that. So that and sexting and that was a whole nother level.
Wait, so you jump back in divorced and the first thing you're hit with is some sexting.
Pretty much, yeah.
What did we used to do before? Send a letter?
Yeah.
Send a note? Like what did people do? When they had a quick sort of naughty thought, what did we do?
That's a great question. I think it was like a phone call. Maybe.
Really?
Or in person.
But somebody calls you and you're in the middle of something and then it's awkward. I think it just didn't happen, right? There was no sharing of naughty thoughts.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I had to explore that for the first time. And
Is that a pro or a con?
Well, at first it was like, ooh, this is exciting. Look at me, newly single.
Is this what's going on here? Everybody wants to get with me here.
Well, at first. And then I quickly realized this is like... For men, it's like going fishing, right? They're
casting a net out and seeing who will respond to this.
Oh, yeah. And some women will probably respond, right on. And then I was feeling kind of like open and excited about the conversation. And then I quickly was like, this is gross. I'm not going there.
Well, I say this in my live show a lot, that the reason that online dating does not work the way it should work, and it should work, you're communicating with each other, it should work, is that the men are sending 36 times more unresponded to messages as women are. 36 times.
Is that like a dating app stat? And
it's a stat of like how much is going out and how much is coming back. Mm-hmm. So do you know why the guy sends the dick pic? If he sends a dick pic to 100 women, 2 will respond.
Right.
If he sends a poem to 100 women, 2 will respond. Mm-hmm. And everything else is not working. So if he's like, I'm going to take some time and sit there and write a sonnet, craft my iambic pentameter and send it to her, and she's going to be like, oh my God, this freak sent me a poem. Or just like, here you go. Have the dick pic.
Yeah.
and go for the 2 out of 100. Again, this is not advice to guys who will do it, but you're not responding to anything. Generally, women.
Right. I think, well, the 2 are.
Yeah, 2 are. But he could be like, hey, how are things going? Or would you,
right.
whatever. And you're probably not going to respond anyway. So he's like, if she responds to that, I got a shot.
Right.
Which
That's
is not
so sad, though.
It's sad both sides of it.
Yes.
It's sad that the women aren't responding, and it's sad that he has to take it to that level, and it's sad like the ones who are only responding to that. A woman came to our show in Los Angeles. She said, "Send me your dick pic and your FICO score, and let's get to work." Like those are the only pieces of information that she was interested in. But so you come out in the world and you're like, wow, people are more overtly sexual, more aggressive.
Well, I think also depends on the age. Like, do you know the age that these guys are sending these pictures?
All ages.
Okay.
So there could be some
depends if
bad-looking, shrivelly things out there
Right.
coming in. Well, I mean, it starts now in school. Like the kids are sexting and sending pics at 13.
Yeah.
You're a mom. That's what.
Not my son.
All right, I
Never.
know, but that's what they're doing. Like I couldn't have imagined handling something like that at 15 or 16. So the
know.
younger people are definitely do it, and then it's the women over 40 are far more likely to be the aggressor in sending something that was risque because they feel like that's what I have to do to get attention and compete with the younger girls.
Yeah.
So they're sending naked pics and getting tattoos.
Oh. That does sound about right.
Right.
I think it also depends on how rough it's been for you before when you're getting out of this relationship and into the single world.
Right. And
how
a lot
long you've been tied up for.
In the transition, which I really consider probably the first 18 months post-divorce, both men and women, your only real emotional need is probably to feel desired by the other person. And that is emotionally desired, needed, and I have purpose because you probably just got out of a relationship where somebody either didn't like you or absolutely got sick of you. And you're in this new singles wilderness and you're hoping that in the game of musical chairs, there's seats for me again. And the sort of shortest route to that is somehow like, oh, they want to have a physical relationship with me. That's not nothing. It's a little easier to comprehend than it's like, oh, I want to hang out with you and get to know you. And people are like, don't get to know me. I'm a basket case because I just got divorced.
Right. But if you're doing things online and you're like messaging someone or you're going through an app, you're more apt to be able to have those conversations because it's like
you can't go up to somebody at Whole Foods
and like start grabbing them.
Well, we used to, I think. Well, I mean, that's why I also think that you bring up sexting or sort of provocative messaging. The pickup line, the traditional in-person pickup line is gone. You really can't go up and say, Stevie Wonder could read that body. Like, you can't say that. You probably shouldn't say that anyway. You can do that.
I could still do it. And I think you probably could too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. But the just like in-person hit on is so societally frowned upon now that people are like, okay, we made some contact behind the protection of these two devices. I'm going to take it up a notch and sometimes take it up 10 notches. Yeah. And so technology, insecurity, look at me, all of these perfect storms came together in the last 15 years that led to young Ms. Levine getting back out there and being like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Is that what the kids are doing? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I realized that quite quickly and it was okay. And then I just pulled back because I realized I'm not going to be like I'm not going to be those two people.
Well, what made you think he wasn't just sending it to you?
Well, first of all, receiving a dick pic is so uncomfortable. That's like...
Does that depend on the dick? Does it depend on the pose, the lighting, the photographer? If it's an artsy photo. If it's like David's statue.
No, it's really
If I send you a picture of the David statue, is that a dick pic? There's a dick in there, I think.
It is. It is. You know, David shouldn't be doing that either. And if he were around
See, the dick pics have been around for 5,000 years.
I would much prefer a statue.
Yeah, it's a risky move, guys. There's a 98% shot she's going to hate it. There's far better things to do. But you're back out there, and he's like, hey, what's your name? How are you? Where are you from? Bloop. And then,
well, that's kind of how it happens. It's like, really? I think they're trying to test like your mood and like if you do get together, what you'll be down for, what you're like comfortable with or talking about. Or sometimes people just want to like flat out, get down to business. And I'm not talking about
I think get down to business.
professionally.
He's trying to find out if you find him in any way desirable.
Oh, that's why guys do that?
Yes, I believe that's why guys do that. I believe that's even why guys hit on you in the first date. So they try and make a move so vociferously.
So they want to get right down to like, would this girl want me?
We think you think we're gross as men. Because early on in a relationship, we are complimenting you physically a lot. The man doesn't get that 100 times in a lifetime. We don't hear that. So the way that we know or we believe that you think we're not undesirable is if you somehow either let us kiss you or you respond well to that or whatever. Because if he knew that information, he wouldn't do those things. If you're just like, listen, you are so hot, when the time comes and I'm comfortable, it's going to blow your mind, he'll calm the fuck down because he has the information he needs. That somewhere on your menu, you want him in 2 months. I
get that. And I've been there in those situations, dating sometimes in person, probably not like before I meet someone in person, but I have been in person and they're like pawing at me. And I'm like, listen. And I basically say what you just said. But if someone's doing all this, so when I was first single, I had to like figure this out on my own. Right. And then if I ever had to have a conversation that was like, hey, you're so hot. I want to get to know you. I want to meet you in person. But when they start acting so obnoxious like that and sexual without even knowing me, I basically tell them like, listen, I try to say it nicely. Like, I'm not going down that road right now.
So to speak. Yeah.
Right.
Nice Jewish girl here. Yeah.
That's right.
There you go.
Maybe eventually.
Right.
But like, that's not going to work for me. But at that point, I'm
turned
turned off.
But the maybe eventually is enough.
Right, but I'm turned off by that point. Now I'm like, he's
probably
got a strike
not
against him.
eventually.
I'm not sure.
So you dated, I assume you didn't marry your high school sweetheart.
No.
Okay.
It did not.
So you dated a while and then you got married for a while and then you were back out there. What was the biggest difference between dating pre-marriage and dating after marriage? Not in terms of technology or in terms of your mindset and what you were looking for and what you wanted.
Well, I think at this point, when I had a baby, I had a 2-year-old baby. I had financially, it was tougher for me. So now I was like nervous about my financial
It was
future.
tougher than before you got married?
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like I had to worry about that now. But
Couldn't
I was
just jet
30.
off to Tuscany to find boys.
Right. I couldn't do that.
Right.
And I was a 30-year-old mom with a 2-year-old son. And I had just taken what felt like a little financial hit in my divorce. And then I decided to start my own business, Team Esteem. But again, so what was really difficult is that now, and when you're 20...
So you're dating at 23, you had financial wherewithal?
No, but I was
Okay.
just like a young girl getting
didn't care.
married. Like, it was
okay,
a different thing.
Throw it on the
Now I'm
credit
like an
card.
adult. Now I'm an
Right.
adult.
You
Now
can't
I
just
got like a kid.
throw a pair of shoes on the credit card because you have a date.
Right. Now I'm just right. No, so I had a whole different mindset. And not only that, I was like thinking about my financial pressures. I was thinking about raising my son and doing a great job as a mother, growing my business and being a good business owner, and then staying healthy, looking good, of course, that's a big one. So that when I show up for my dates, I would always say to a man, like, you like pick a good place, show up, look good, smell good.
Right.
I will entertain you because I am always going to look attractive for you, and I'm
Right.
always going to be good company and polite. And
She's here in a gown today, everybody. She did it all.
how do you like it?
But you're also not, when you're 30 and you're divorced and and you've gotten divorced and you're a mom, you're not necessarily dating for the happily ever after. You're like dating
Well,
to still feel
I thought
good?
I was.
Or were you looking to replace, like, okay, that didn't work, I need to do it again?
Well, I have a really great girlfriend. And I remember her saying to me, Jamie, you have 5 years I would listen to everything she says. I still listen to a lot of what she says. She's a smart girl.
She should have a podcast.
She should. She's actually the one that told me I should have a podcast.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Here I am today. So she said to me, you have 5 years of this divorce game. Have some fun, do your thing, but then you're going to like settle down. So that obviously like went on a lot longer. But at first I was just like dating and having fun, but I was thinking I needed to like pick up the pieces, get myself another husband, carry on with my life so I could have balance.
You had a 2-year-old then at the time. Uh-huh. Do you lead with that? Oh, by the way, I have a 2-year-old. Is that how relevant is that information? Is that the first thing on your profile? Because
so
the thing the guy wants to know, I don't know if
I know what guys want to know.
Well, I don't know if you were intentionally, dating people who had kids or didn't or whatever. What guys want to know is what is your availability?
I know.
So
I always knew that.
Did you? Good.
Yeah.
You listen to this podcast.
No, I knew that on my own.
It's like did you have? They need to know your custody situation essentially, which is really personal stuff to know up front, even more so than the dick pic.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to just like lay everything on the table. If you're looking to attract a quality man, you want to show that you're a quality yourself, and making time for someone, if that's important to you, is something that needs to be discussed.
Right.
And I had a reasonable custody arrangement. Like there was
I'm available every other weekend and 6:00 on Wednesdays. Even if it's that, they understand like, okay, there is time here, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. I don't even know if I said all that. I think I just kept it really like, oh yeah, when do you want to get together?
I'm a great babysitter.
Yeah. Or I would act as if, I'll see if, I don't know. I didn't want to look too eager to date either. And I was always dating other people too. Remember, I was divorced and single in New York City.
Yeah.
I was 30. I had like the world at my fingertips. Literally.
But you're also not bringing guys home to meet your son.
No, unless I was dating them seriously,
and
which I've done.
Okay. New York City, it's not necessarily easier to find the love of your life, but it's easy to find
lots of
options.
Dates. Yeah.
Lots of dates, yeah. You could have a date in 7 different neighborhoods and 7 different nights, and they never run into each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or even the same neighborhood.
Same neighborhood. Yeah.
And again, I like to be really honest. So I would say, you know what? I got to go. I'm meeting. I learned quickly. Everyone's a friend. Mm-hmm. So that's what a girlfriend told me. She's like, I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm like going to tell this guy I'm going on a date, but then I'm meeting someone for a drink after. And she would say, no, everyone's a friend. You don't say you're meeting someone for a date after
I'm
that
meeting a
date.
friend.
I'm meeting a friend.
See, I would pick up on that. I would hate to be the appetizer person.
Well,
if I was asking somebody out and she's like, oh, I can't, I have plans, I would say dump him, because I would see plans mean a guy.
Well, that's now. That's at your age now. That when you were 30, what would you have done? You wouldn't have thought that.
I wouldn't have taken anybody on dates. You could just take them home.
Right. Well, I don't like that. I
don't like that either, but it was New York City. I was 30 in New York City.
Right. So there's plenty of guys that will just try to take you home.
And there's plenty of women who just want to be taken home.
Exactly.
Yeah, New York is a weird dating spot.
I like to get to know someone.
So you were old enough to remember what this joke means. And it's not a joke because it was true.
How do you know I'm old
enough? I'm doing the math here. The goal in New York City as a guy when you were out was to avoid hearing 3 words. You know what those 3 words were? 2 stops, please.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you told me.
You never wanted to hear 2 stops, please, because that meant it was over, and that meant you were getting in a cab and back before the Uber days, and you would do anything not to hear that. You're like, let's go to one more bar, let's have one more drink. It's 4 a.m. and then it's too late. And
I know.
Okay, just come over.
I guess I never thought of it from a male's perspective. I just thought of it from my perspective. But yeah, that makes sense because I've been there. With
and you couldn't just stay out all night because you had a kid.
Right. Or it's, I'll get my own Uber, thanks, bye.
But there was no Uber then.
Well, generally speaking, on the first few dates, I like to go locally near myself. I always try to make it work for me.
So this is New York City. This is was it a doorman or a buzzer?
Doorman.
Did you care that the doorman knew your social life? They're so nosy.
That was the worst.
That is the worst.
The worst. And I would have men sending me flowers one day, and then another man would bring me home. And then the doorman, I'll never forget, Felix, was like, Miss Levine, you have flowers from, and he said the guy's name.
I felt like when I would go back to
To
a
the other
doorman
guy.
building to her building, and I would get the look, and always felt like the look was like, that's not the same guy as last night, and
Yeah.
that made me feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, he's
I
looking
would
at
feel
me
bad
like I'm
for
not the guy.
guys.
Yeah,
I felt bad for the guys, especially when one gave me flowers and the other one was dropping me off.
yeah.
And I remember I was like, Felix, what is wrong with you? You don't tell Scott that Drew gave me flowers and vice versa.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm so sorry. I'll never do that again. But then Drew would send me bigger, better flowers the next day.
Vegas, the check-in people at the hotels, they are trained not to reference anything. Don't say that it was your wife. I saw you last week. They are just like, because
That's
there's a lot of
smart.
shit going
Yeah.
on. There's a lot of shit going down on this podcast. I got to take a quick break because we got to pay for things like dating and stuff around here. I'm here with Jamie Levine. She's the host of Mom Esteem, and we will get into that a little bit, but I got to take a quick break. We will be back right after this. And we are back. So when we prefaced this during the prologue of this, you said you had some theories and philosophies about the current dating landscape or the past dating landscape. And I said I would be open to all ideas. So
Okay.
tell me what you believe.
So I think men and women are getting tired.
Physically,
Everything. Physically,
emotion, just beaten down by what?
dating.
By dating.
Uh-huh.
You might be right on that. Why and why are they getting tired from dating now versus 20 years ago?
Well, I think these dating apps have opened a lot of doors for people to date multiple people at a time. And,
Which you're right on that, but why? Why couldn't we have dated multiple people in a time 20 years ago?
Because you didn't have these dating apps around.
What do the dating apps have to do? We were out in a bar, and there was a lot of. You're in New York City. There's a million people.
Because you could be literally walking around like all day swiping. I mean, that's what I used to do.
Right, but
on my
walking
free time.
around all day is swiping. It's
No,
the same
that's not
thing.
true.
Remember when
It's
you did
so
the lap?
much
50, remember when you did a lap 50 times around the bar?
Yeah.
That was swiping. That was
No,
literally what that
that's really not the
was.
same. It's
And
not
when
the
you
same.
saw somebody like you stopped.
No.
Okay.
Not the same. We're talking like hundreds and thousands of people out there that are on these apps that are looking
There's hundreds
to,
of thousands of people out there in the street in New York City.
Yeah, but who's walking around like
I think we
making
did.
that their job
I
every
think
day?
we did then. I think we had our blinders off. We didn't have our head in our apps, and we would see the people, and you had an opportunity to date these people. But you're right. I don't
People
think.
are less
I don't think we.
inhibited. I think that's it. They're
Maybe
less
I don't think we
inhibited on the
dated
apps.
3 or 4. I think it's people are far less likely for whatever reason to put all their chips into one basket and date one person at a time. People are so looking for, as I've said ad infinitum around here, the women look for red flags and the men look for green lights, okay? So the women are not letting themselves go to any sort of emotional place either on one date or with one guy. So they're like, I'm just having fun. I have multiple options here or whatever because they're scared to go down the wrong road. They're scared to do the game musical chairs and pick the wrong seat. So they're like, I want to have
Wait,
lots
you're
of
saying
seats.
a woman
I'm saying
staying
the
with a
women are
man
doing
'cause
this.
They're comfortable?
I'm saying the women are keeping their options open and having 6 guys on the hook because they don't want, if they pick one and it's the wrong one, they're going to get hurt. And the men are doing that because if they pick the wrong one and they get rejected, that's going to hurt.
Okay, so this is exactly what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and this is why people are tired. This is a lot of work. This is
I think we're also, you're right. A lot of people have turned their dating life into a full-time job when it used to be an escape from your job.
right.
And I think they're making it harder, but I agree with you on that. Like people are tired. It's like, another this, another
Right.
that.
And think about it. People have to go out on dates.
Yeah.
So from a man's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
if they're doing the gentlemanly thing, if they're still, that's still going on. They're planning dates, they're coordinating.
Yeah, but we
their
can't pick
schedule.
you up anymore for a date. So that's out.
Okay, well, that's okay. But that was
No,
still
that's
nice.
not
That's
okay.
nice.
But we've made
Well, eventually you can once you've made that connection and there's some trust there. And
right. He's
you're not
probably
a
he could still be a
killer.
psycho.
Right.
We used to
True.
pick you up for dates. What changed?
So many things.
Dateline.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. No,
So
the
many things.
boys have changed.
Right.
We were psychos in the 2000s.
Yeah.
In the 90s. We were
But
crazy
a lot,
people.
right.
Right. But
So it's
aware.
a scary world today.
Right. So you're all dating like tensed up and fear based and whatever. That's exhausting. So every
Right.
date is a little more exhausting.
Right. And think about from a woman's perspective. You guys, you can just wake up with your like gorgeous hair and your little scruffy face,
Yeah.
throw on a nice little polo shirt and walk out the door. We're doing. What do you hear women complain about when they're going out?
The maintenance, the
Yeah.
cost.
I had to, and I had my hair,
Right.
and my makeup, and my high heels, and I was all dressed and ready. This is what they always say. I was all dressed and ready. It took an hour to prepare, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and they're so excited, and then the guy's like an asshole.
Right.
Really. That's exhausting.
The longtime
Keep
producer
doing
of
it.
this podcast, the producer of the 2-time Emmy Award-winning Keiko, she always used to say that women, even today, earn something like 80 cents on the dollar for every man that ever do. So she's like, out of $1,000, the women the man is spending $200 less dollars than she has. He has $200 more to spend, and she's like, that's the $200 you need to spend taking us out. Because we have to get by on all this
Right.
other shit. You buy the dinner.
Right.
You pay for all that shit.
It's true.
She's right on that.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's my theory too. So
Yeah.
I think women are spending a lot of time trying to look good, feel good. Forget about looking good and feeling good to show up to look attractive and feel your best self.
Mm-hmm.
You have to then have the energy, even if you don't
to
like
fight
the guy.
off them other bitches.
Yeah. Well, that too.
I think that too. The girl on girl crime and the I have to fight. I think that's exhausting.
That too.
I need to look good because I
Right.
need to
Because
have
there's
as good.
always someone younger.
I
and
need to have the
thinner.
pictures from my life that are equally as interesting as her life.
Right. Right.
She just
that's
went to
good.
Cyprus with that guy, and I just went to McDonald's with my guy. I need to spend energy making that look more balanced.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, I think you're
And
right.
I think the men are really tired because they're dealing with a lot of girls that are like screwing with their heads and keeping people, this was the big thing. Guys would ask me out, and if I knew I was into a guy, but I was into another guy more, and I had very limited, you were talking about like my schedule. My schedule was pretty busy, right? I had my son a lot of the time, and then I had my business a lot of the other time. And dating was always so important to me. Like I always wanted to have a date, have a boyfriend. I'm not into this. I'm a Libra. I like balance and partnership. That's what I like. So
That's reasonable.
yeah. So when a guy would ask me out, I would basically be looking at the other guy's calendar and waiting for him to ask me out and then working the other guy around that. This was very tiring for me.
Yeah, that was tiring then.
I know. So now it's even worse, I think, because there's more apps and there's more, and I think for men it's harder because they're like, I just took this girl out to dinner. She doesn't even say thank you. Like, I think we're going out again. I don't know. She's not calling me back.
She definitely doesn't say, thank you, I'd love to do it again, which is the information he needs.
Right.
He needs a thank you, and he needs to know, I would like to do it again.
Yeah.
Because even if she hated him, she should say thank you as long as she had manners.
I agree. So that brings me to my next theory. You want to hear that?
Yes.
So I think if there's a date and there's attraction, like conversation attraction, but no physical attraction, I think it's always nice for a woman to say, thank you, I had a nice time. I wasn't feeling a spark, but like I would love to be your friend. I enjoyed the conversation.
Most people agree with that. That would crush me. I would hate that.
Why?
All I would hear is you didn't feel the spark, and I'd be like, how in the world could you not feel the spark? I would only hear the insult in there.
Why? Hold on. What if they're saying, I loved talking to you?
I would rather they
we
hated
sat
talking to me
together,
and thought I
Brian,
was
for
hot.
hours. Okay. Why?
I don't know. That's the way I'm wired. What do you want me to tell you?
Hold on. But what if you had like a 3-hour conversation?
And then she wasn't trust me, if a woman had a 3-hour conversation with me, she's going to feel a spark.
Well, maybe to your mind.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so what
What
if
are
she
we
said-
talking about for 3 hours if we don't feel a spark?
Well,
What are you, my
again,
cousin?
this-
No, I would hate that. I'm like, I just
I
gave
think
you
when you're
3 hours
younger-
of my best
I think
shit.
I think when you're younger, you can do that. Look, listen. I like people. I like conversations. So when I was younger, I would have done that. Today,
Yeah, I like
would not.
conversations too. But if I
maybe.
if I had a 3-hour conversation
Maybe. Yeah.
and there was no spark, I would just assume they have bad taste, probably. So I'd be fine. I don't need
So
to
you
hear
would
it.
get like pissed off.
No, I would just say like it's not my fault. You have bad taste.
So if you and I went on a date
Yeah.
and I was
dare
like,
to dream, young lady. Dare to dream.
I'm dreaming.
Okay.
I'm going
Okay.
with it.
And
Just say.
okay,
And
and
we speak for 3 hours.
yeah, you would laugh your ass off and you couldn't wait for another 3 hours. There's no way you would be like, that was fine, and I'm going to go back in the pool with those dull dudes. There's no way.
But what if I had the guts
Yeah.
To be like, Brian, I loved our conversation, but I didn't.
But it's exhausting. You're so exhausting to talk to. I don't want to do this shit. I'm a mom. I would rather feel that. But I would rather have the girl lie to me and be like, listen, I'm so attracted to you. I would get fired from my job. I cannot concentrate, so we can't do this anymore. Who wouldn't rather hear that? Okay, wouldn't you rather hear that?
Fair enough.
The complimentary
Noted.
lie.
Right.
Yeah. We should all say that.
Okay. That'll be my next.
I mean, we do advise
Lie
people.
to the guy.
We do advise people.
You're basically telling me to tell young women out there to just keep lying.
We tell people to handle it Shark Tank style. You know what that means?
Yeah, you're not.
I like you. I'm not feeling it, and for that reason, I'm out. And then I'm not feeling it could be about you. That's why I'm not feeling it. I just have too much going on. I would blame you for not feeling it. I wouldn't think that's me.
I'm not feeling a spark.
That's you. That's on you.
Well, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, but I would try and get you the proper help and medication so you would feel a spark. I'd be like, what's wrong with you?
Okay, then I would say
maybe you need a vacation because you absolutely should be feeling a spark.
Are you blind?
What is wrong with you? Yes. Maybe we should get your glasses checked. What do you mean you're not feeling a spark? That's what I would do.
It's not to say that
and I'm not sure that's not a better date with a delusional ego. But
hold on. Yeah. So you can actually find someone attractive later. Maybe you can get past that. Maybe if we stayed friends,
we cling to that. We watch Adam Sandler movies and we cling to, and then eventually,
and then it's just a downer.
She wore us down. Eventually, she found us attractive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we do. That's why we're persistent. But then there's a fine line between persistent.
Why wouldn't you take being my friend? Why, if I was like, could we stay friends? I love talking to you. Maybe in the back of your head, you might think, you know what?
Because if I asked you out, I think you're probably too hot to be my friend.
Okay, well.
I don't want a bunch of hot girlfriends. That's what I would think.
Why not?
What do I need that for? Because my next girlfriend with the good taste would be mad that I had a hot friend.
Then you can drop me.
So you'd be a placeholder, a friend?
I have to be.
Should I call you up and tell you about the other people I'm dating? Like, what are we going to be? Why do we need to be friends?
I don't know. It's hard to find good friends out there.
Yeah, I know. And so I don't think I'm finding them in the dating pool either. You're right. I don't have a lot of friends. I probably should have had your mindset. You're right.
There you go.
But I am friends with people I have dated, because then you feel like, all right, we already exhausted that part of it, and the good part is left as friends. And I think that's good. I think once you have dated, you should be friends. Somebody who is still friends with their exes, meaning that they didn't do something absolutely terrible that person hates them. I think that's a positive.
Right. I agree. Yeah. And I have those too. But I do have a good guy friend. He became my really good guy friend. Then he started dating this girl seriously. Yeah. And we weren't talking as much.
Right.
And that's okay.
I think she has a right to say, don't be friends with the girls.
If you're a good friend, you understand that. That's the point.
But if you're a good friend and you went on a date and you downgraded it to friendship, there's still a part of him that wants you, and you're like, oh, well, too bad. It's not a good friendship.
Okay, well, actually, the story I'm referring to is a date I went on. Someone set us up, and he's the one that said to me, that's where I got the idea from. Jamie, I loved our conversation. We spoke for hours. It was a great time. I would like to be your friend. I wasn't feeling a spark towards you. And I said, I'm not feeling that spark either. I'd love to be your friend.
Right. But if you were, because then you felt relief.
I was so relieved.
I know. That's not a pure example. If there was a guy who you really liked and he told you that, you would be horrified. You'd be hurt. You would hate that.
I would?
Yeah. You don't want to be friend zoned any more than the guys want to be.
Let's be honest.
Right. Let's be. Who's going to say that? Yeah, I know. But that's the same thing. I don't think we need to do, but I also think another point, not to jump your theories here, we are so agitated and ramped up during our normal days between whatever we see on social media and societal shit and politics, and the world is a little bit angrier. That actually trickles into the date. It's hard to shut that off and just enjoy this person in the moment and be present. And so that people are going into dates weird.
Yeah, I have neck pains just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, it's true though.
Yeah. So people are not fully prepped mentally and present and excited going into it and hopeful. A lot of people are a lot of women especially date with, how do I get out of here if he bores me in 15 minutes?
Well,
or I'm not feeling it.
You're polite.
Well, we didn't used to date that way either. You used to go work your way through the ick of 45 minutes of awkwardness and nervousness. And a lot of times the clouds would part and it was great. Mm-hmm. We don't do that now. So, it's like, if I don't feel this in 10 minutes, I don't have time to waste because I got 7 other guys.
Right.
That's
I know that the dating like contracts or matchmaking service,
Yeah.
they make you stay for like 45 minutes. It's
Yeah,
like
that is the
minimum.
upside of those god-awful services.
They're awful.
They are awful, but
But I mean, I would never. And so it's funny.
I think you should, unless you feel endangered or he spilled something flammable on you, I think you should give everybody a second date.
What?
Yeah, I do. Like, I think if you change the
Endangered.
location,
Yeah.
more walls come down between date 1 and date 2 than any other dates you will ever have.
shocked.
Because you know a little bit about each other. You know what you look like. You're not repulsed. But if you have like an awkward dinner date and that's maybe not your thing, and then the second date you're like, okay, let's go play miniature golf. It's almost like starting fresh with you don't want to play miniature golf. You want to go from golf to dinner.
No, I don't want to go on a second date if I don't want to go on a second date.
I'm just saying the first date. Well, have you ever? It's like it takes a couple times when you have sex to get in the groove.
Okay, but then just make that first date a little
sex?
longer and
Oh.
have that conversation a little longer.
No, because once it's in a weird spot, it's tough to salvage it.
No, it's not.
If you're
Do
having a
whatever you
bad
wanna
20
do.
minutes and you told somebody, just put in 20 more, that you'd much rather wipe the board clean, change your outfit, and go on a second date and start again.
Disagree.
Okay. Well, there you go. You'd rather just elongate the terrible first date.
Or if it's a good date, I'll
Well, if it's a good date, that's moot. If it's a good,
I did say I'm a Libra, so the other problem I have is that I have a hard time making up my mind. So
I thought that was a Gemini. No,
no, we can't make decisions. Libras, that scale, it's balancing.
I'm a Scorpio. Nobody wants to date.
Those are very feisty and sexual.
That's what you hear. Nobody wants to date that.
Why?
They don't. Because
They're
they're like,
sexual, they might want to, or
They
they're
don't-
spicy, they may like that.
they're like, I'm going to get stung by the Scorpio. They don't like it.
I think that's an excuse, Brian. We'll have to work on that.
Well, no, people say it openly at our live shows. They're like, Scorpio, there's a rumbling in the room. When somebody says Scorpio, it's like, ugh.
Why?
Scorpio
I like
and Gemini are the
Scorpios.
two that people don't
I
want to
like-
date. So that's 2 out of 12. That's,
Well, I like
16.7%.
Scorpios and Geminis. Virgos, I don't
That's
like.
because you like to date multiple people at a time, apparently.
Not anymore. Not
Okay.
anymore.
So what else? Give me another one of your theories. These are good, and I agree. Most people
Yeah.
come on here and I'm like, oh my God, do you believe that? You're right on this stuff.
I think people need to feel more valued today. Period. So if that means a man doesn't like I said, they're tired, right? So maybe he doesn't want to put the energy together for a date and plan it. But I think a woman needs to make the man understand that she's not just out there for dates and dinner. She wants to actually like really get to know him. But this is like her expectation is that he will be a gentleman. He will plan a dinner. He will, ask her what she likes.
They do think that. I know a girl in LA, and her philosophy, her dating week, she describes it as 7 dates, 7 steaks. She wants to go out to she doesn't care. She has the ability to just listen to him babble and enjoy the food and have no emotional attachment and just not care at all. She's like, I'm going to go out to a nice restaurant every night, and I know how to get out of it at the end of the night and say thank you, and I'm done.
Okay. And I think if that's her plan,
That sounds terrible to me.
no, I do too.
Yeah.
But if that's what she's into, then I would prefer she just actually like kind of hints at that.
Yep.
And then the guy knows what to expect. Because some guys have no problem just taking girls. out
No,
to steak
right.
dinner.
They want to be seen.
They want to
Yeah.
be seen. They want an
I
attractive
agree.
girl.
And
in
they
their
don't want it to get
hand.
any farther than that.
Right.
Some people are like, I'm willing to pay for that. And
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons, they don't want to go any past that.
Right. They'll take what they could get.
And there's
really.
there's websites that hook that up too.
Right. Right.
So-
So I think you just need to be honest with like what you're looking for.
So the best thing that you found about dating post-divorce is what? Was there a good thing? Like, did you come
yeah,
out in your 30s,
definitely.
you felt more confident as a woman, as a mom? Does that make it better?
I have dated, I've really dated like all different kinds of men. Like and I'm proud of it. Like some
Short?
people could have been like, shorter, taller.
Shorter. See, there's always a qualifier. Have you dated how tall are you?
5'2.5".
Have you dated 5'4"?
Probably, yeah.
All right, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
Hear that, ladies? Yeah. He's not here now, but she dated him.
that's right.
I'd love to be your friend.
You know what? I'll have to think about it, Brian. Have to think about it.
So,
So I think knowing what I want, like dating rich guys, poor guys, attractive guys, less attractive guys, I've really dated a lot of men.
It's
that have
not
helped me
easy
with my
to
business,
date an
believe it or not.
attractive rich guy too, because attractive rich guy is the women tend to be very insecure.
Yeah.
You can have everybody. What's he doing with me? There's a
Right.
lot of that.
I've dated that too.
Yeah.
And that's been fun. But then it comes down to a lot of other, like, you know, financial questions and what my career is and how, like, lucrative that's going to be. And would I have another kid? That would always come up. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I want to marry you. And
Do
I
they
want to
ask
have another
that
child with you. You're
early?
a phenomenal mother. I want to do that with you.
Do they ask that date one?
No.
Do you want to have more kids? That seems like
It really would depend, you know, if, like back when
Back-
I was on the apps, it was,
Right.
they would say that and I would say maybe. And I would always say to a guy, if you're worth it, I'd consider it.
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm open to anything if you're worth it. I think that's a
Yeah.
good answer.
Well, because I had a great life with my son. I was like,
Yeah.
we have amazing lives, the two of us. I have everything that I could need.
Right.
If you add value to our lives and
Were-
you're worth it, I'll have
Were
another
you
one.
more likely or less likely to date somebody who had kids?
At first, I only wanted to date dads,
Right,
and I would refuse to date someone that wasn't a dad.
right.
And then I thought about it.
And your
I
reason
was
for
like,
that was what?
I wanted someone who could understand, like, the love for a child.
Right. And there's a sense of responsibility that should come, it's not 100%
Yes.
accuracy, that should come with being a parent.
Yeah, yeah. But then I realized that's ridiculous.
Correct. But some women are like, he will understand the responsibilities and the scheduling issues and the priorities and all that. Schedule-wise, though, that's like trying to hit two bullseyes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to hit his and yours and whatever you got, less likely to have the time together if you each have
Right.
kids.
That's why I went back to I don't want to date dads.
Yeah.
Because I want
them
attention
focused on
here.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I quickly realized that. And then I started dating guys that didn't have kids. And I like that too.
But then you have to work that balance because you had one kid, you have one kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was always going to be second in your life, even if you were first in his.
Right. But I'm also, again, I'm about a partnership. I wanted to raise my son with someone else, even though his dad is very present in his life. Like, I look at it like the more love your child can have in your life,
Yes.
the better off everyone is.
I agree with that. Do you care did you guys discuss who you were dating, you and your ex-husband? Is that a conversation or?
Like if I was going to introduce, well,
Yeah,
I
is
feel like
that-
I'm pretty open with him and he is less open with me. He's always like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's not really your business.
It's only your business if is who are you bringing around our son. I think
Right.
that is business. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Mom can't be bringing like different because the kid's gonna tell dad like mom has so many guys over here.
Yeah.
Hey, that's probably an issue. Yeah.
But we've talked about everything, or he's talked to me about it, and I'll if he's ever said that, I'm like, I bring quality men around our child. Quality. I don't care if there's quantity there.
Yeah.
It's quality.
Has he ever said like that guy sucks, or vice versa?
No,
Have you ever been like, don't bring that girl
Actually-
around my son?
He actually like friends every ex I've ever dated. It's like a
Really?
joke, yeah.
At the
on
time
Facebook.
they're dating?
Yeah, he's friendly. We're friendly. No,
Okay.
everybody gets along.
Well, that's good.
I would only have it that way for my son, really.
Yeah. And good for your son creating an environment where the parents get along. You got to give the kid credit for that.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
he would, and if I ever was not dating a guy for a while, it was just the two of us, he'd be like, Mom, I think it's time. I'm like,
Uh-oh,
"It's
mommy's
time for-"
cranky. Mommy needs some action.
No. Maybe.
Yeah, so I can pick up
But
on
he
it.
wanted like a dude to hang with around the house.
Yeah.
Like he's like a fun kid.
Can you go date some professional athletes, Mom? Yeah.
Well, we were on the flight once. I'll never forget. We saw a Harlem Globetrotter. His name was Moose.
Yeah.
And he did want to date me, this guy.
That'd
He
be
was,
cool.
like,
Mom's
15
dating
years young.
Moose
Yeah.
the Globetrotter. There you go.
I was like, I don't know, Matt.
Spin the ball on his finger.
And
Who
he was
wouldn't
like,
want
just
that?
go out on one date. I'm like, no. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Hi, Moose, if you're out there. Okay.
All right. Final dating thoughts or philosophy? Final piece of advice for the great love listeners out there?
You're not going to like this, Brian, but I'll tell you. Again, I just really think people need to be their authentic selves. And if that means saying I didn't feel a spark, then say it.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just think most people don't even know their authentic selves until they're in the right relationship where they can reveal that and discover that.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
so. I think the dating advice is to get in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
admit to some of these things, what you're looking to improve upon and
Do the
build
work.
on. Yeah. And I just think we'd have a better world. We'd have better relationships. And
All right.
I like honesty.
I'm going to let you plug all your stuff in a second, but this is your first time on the podcast, and we play something called worst date or first date, which means you have to give us either the absolute worst date you ever went on in your life or the absolute greatest first date you ever went on. Your choice.
Oh, definitely my first date.
Okay.
Okay. You want to hear it?
Yeah, that's very hopeful. Good for you. Yes, go.
It was my birthday, my 37th birthday. He had the same name as me, Jamie. And I had been joking with him that I wanted to be engaged and get off the apps before my 37th birthday. So he shows up at my apartment.
So you gave a first date your birthday night?
Well, it was
Where
a
were
day
all these
date.
friends you have?
I was meeting my friends for dinner at Nobu 57.
Okay. So you're like, I'll give you the 2:00 slot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, lunch.
Lunch. Okay.
He's like, I'm going to pick you up. But I always had a doorman, so that was safe.
Yeah.
And we're going to walk because it was 70 degrees. My birthday's October 21. It was actually 70 degrees.
Mine's
in
October
Manhattan.
29th.
Aw.
You're not a Scorpio? What's the cutoff?
No, you're on the cusp. 23.
Okay.
So I'm cuspy too.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I like Scorpios. Anyway, so he picks me up. We walk this beautiful day to the Plaza Hotel for lunch. He halfway through gets down on his knee and like fake proposes with this ring. It was so romantic and so sweet because he had
Risky.
been listening. I know. He was tall. He was a handsome guy.
Right.
And then we go to lunch, and the whole time he's like so into me, and I'm so into him, and we're like, la, 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 la. Just it's a beautiful day. It's my birthday.
Right.
Totally unexpected. He then takes me shopping. He goes, I'm so into you. I want to buy you a birthday present.
This is awesome.
Yeah. I was like, don't tell me you're going to buy me a present if you're not, because people don't just randomly get me
Right.
presents. He took me shopping. He bought me these.
You can fake propose, but no fake presents.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah, I was like,
where I draw the line
did
on
you
this
wanna know
role
if I said
playing.
yes?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I can't even remember
Right.
what happened on the proposal.
Yeah.
I probably like panicked. I don't know. He bought me these amazing Ferragamo boots, $3,000. I wore them like every day for the next and I took my boots that I was wearing that were like kind of run down. He took them in his car, put them in his car, and then I wore my boots out to dinner. Oh, and we had an hour to kill before my Nobu dinner, and he really wanted me to cancel it and just go to dinner with him.
But you
and I was
should've,
like,
yeah.
absolutely not doing that. But you could take me on a horse and carriage ride.
Right.
And we can sip a little champagne around Central Park. So I
Right.
did that. And I said, stay for a drink with my girlfriends. He stayed for a drink at Nobu with my girlfriends. They met him. They love my new boots. I love my new boots. I sent his ass home.
Right.
He was trying to do a little,
Yeah.
I'll come back to your apartment. And I was like, we're not doing that.
Call me after your friends.
Yeah. I was like, you're not doing
I'll
that.
blow out every candle on your cake.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
No thanks. And I had the best night. And it was just like a gentlemanly thing that I think he probably regretted the next day. But he called me and was like, I really feel cheap. He's like, I didn't do it to feel cheap.
Oh.
He's like, I did it because I wanted to, but if I told my friends the story, they'd think something was
No, I
Totally
think that
wrong.
was awesome. So then what happened? Did you go out again?
yeah.
Oh, it was all downhill from there?
Kind of.
Yeah, it's tough to match the magic of the birthday.
But the question was best first date. Tell me that's not the best first date.
That's one of the best ones we've heard.
It was.
Yeah, I like it.
It was not just the best first date. It was the best day of my life. And I love my son, and I'm really glad I had him. But that date was bliss.
Well, didn't your friends have trouble
It's
competing
euphoria.
with that? Were you
My
how
friends.
far into
Oh, with
the
my dinner?
Nobu 57 were you like, I would rather be with him? Any part of that?
No, not at all. It was
No,
the first
like
date.
he was
I'm not
done.
stupid. I know what the first date was. The guy was trying to get some action.
Okay. Well, he earned some action. If anybody ever would merited some action, it's that guy.
That's not how this works, Brian. That's
the
not how
boats
this
were
works.
made for action.
right.
Okay. Well, I like that. All right. Tell the world
Yeah.
about your Esteem problems.
Oh, my. Well, I think this podcast is about to end. So I am the podcaster of Mom Esteem. I have a company called teamesteemmethod.com where I improve behavior in children, work closely with families and schools to pinpoint what those behaviors are, mostly around the esteem struggle and how it presents behaviorally with the team, the high impact members in a child's life, team members, who has influence, who has impact in your child's life. If you want to know more, you can reach me at jamie@teamesteemmethod.com or listen to the Mom Esteem podcast.
That was a good little plug.
Thanks.
That was good. See, this wasn't so bad, right?
No, this was fun.
As far as us, not just the Mom Esteem podcast, like, share, review, and as always, follow this podcast. And your reviews mean a lot in the podcasting ecosystem. Go to greatlovedebate.com. I'm not sure what's on our live tour schedule. We'll see if I get lured out for some more shows before the end of the year. Shoot us an email, greatlovedebate@gmail.com for all your thoughts, questions, comments, and so forth. Because as always, at the Great Love Debate, we never stop making love. See you next time.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great